the MVP podcast. Mo Vaughn, of course, it's powered by Vaughn Sports Academy and Perfect Game, the Mo Vaughn podcast. I got to call your games Mo Vaughn, and I'm hijacking my role as a host. So thank you. Let me come in and co-host with you. Okay. I got to call our guest games in the major leagues. Wes Helms, thanks for being here on behalf of Camwood Bats. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
This is fun. So am I allowed to host with you on your podcast?
You're allowed to host to whatever you know. You know you're a professional. We've been together a long time.
We have.
So, I can entrust that you're going to take us where we need to go.
Okay. Let's hope it works out for you, trusting me like that. There's a lot of coaches out here in this space right now, Wes. A lot. That are coaching when you were a kid. When we go back to you, Gastonia, North Carolina, everyone's coming to see your games. So I want to go back to that time. He's going to talk a lot about the big leagues, which I'm sure. And I might too, right? But what do you recall about that junior, senior journey for you? You see it as a dad now, as a coach. But as you look back on it, what were some of the most important moments in your life before you became a pro?
Oh man, it was the high school baseball time of my life is the time I'll never forget. I think today's high school games played a lot different than when we did. I'll never forget those days. The most memorable days I'll have with Matt Malton and Jeremy Smith and all those guys I still keep in touch with. Just to go to school together and go to practice together and building those relationships, having that community feel of you're playing for your high school and you're playing to represent your high school. Those times, I had Peanut Parch, which was pitched a little bit in the St. Louis Cardinals organization as my coach. And just to have him mentor us about how to play the game the right way and how to be a team and how to play for the guy beside you. You're playing for Ashbrook High School in Gastonia, North Carolina. You're representing that green wave that's on your jersey. I was blessed to have those kind of people in my life, but also to remember those days of just playing baseball because it was fun. And that's the one thing I tell people, my high school days I loved the game, but it was fun. It was never pressure. It was, never our coach, not making it fun for us because he realized that one kid might go to college. You might have a diamond in the rough that gets drafted. All these other guys, this is the last time they're ever going to play a sport. They're going to go to college and have to start their life.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, he made it so fun for us, but also taught us to respect the game and play the game hard and to work hard. He taught us those principles as well, but we never had a moment where it was like pressure. It was you're playing a kid's game, you're just a little older.
Wes, that worked for you. You went right out of high school to the pros. And I had an opportunity to do that, but I wasn't mature enough and I knew it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So tell me what that process was like when you were decided that, listen, I'm gonna go. I'm getting drafted by the Atlanta Braves. I'm going to go and I'm going to go play pro ball.
It was a tough decision. I grew up with a mom and dad that blue collar. It was all about work ethic. It was all about getting education. My mom and dad were big on me getting an education because both of my parents didn't go to college.
Right.
They went right into the blue collar work field right out of high school. They got married young. And, so they wanted me to have something they didn't. So school was huge for them. So when I had a full scholarship to North Carolina Chapel Hill, that's what it was going to be.
Right.
We didn't think about the draft. We didn't think about any of that. And all of a sudden the draft started coming close and we had, scouts talking to us. It's not like today where you kind of know where you're going to go because of social media and all the rankings. And I kind of had an idea, hey, I'm going to get drafted. So I got drafted and I'll never forget it. I didn't want to go. And I told my mom and dad, I don't want to sign. I want to go get my education. This is what you bred in me from day one. You got to have an education. But they both agreed, and I'll never forget this. And my mom told my kids this story not long ago. My dad and I went to the field to hit, and she realized we were gone for over 3 hours, and we were never gone that long. We get home, and she's like, where were y'all at? And my dad said, we talked about the decision over and over and over. And he picked my brain, I picked his brain, and we finally came to the conclusion of, my dad looked at me and he goes, let me tell you something. You're a mature kid for your age. You're a great baseball player. You can go to college when you're 40 years old, but you can only play baseball for so long. Yeah. He goes, I think you should go do this. But you have to promise me and your mother that if you don't make it where you want to make it, you have to go back to college and get that education. And that's what we did. It was a decision on you can always go to school, but your body's going to leave you before your mind does. And that's what got me to sign with the Atlanta Braves.
Look, man, it worked out.
It did.
You played 13 years in the majors. 256, batting average, 75 home runs, 374 RBIs. The numbers are really not what's important. And they really are not. But what it shows is what you were. You
Exactly.
were a great teammate, a great player. You must have had some type of great personality and work ethic and things that you did to keep you in the game that long. Talk a little bit about the importance of what you knew to do coming up at that age, and then transferring to the game that helped you get that first day in the big leagues.
Well, it goes back to the way I was raised. It's all about your work ethic. It's all about putting everything you have into what you do. It doesn't matter what you do. You put everything you have into it. And that comes from the blue-collar work ethic of my parents.
Tell me your parents' names.
So my mom's name's Ann Helms and my dad's name's J.W. Helms, John Wesley. So that's where I get my name Wesley from.
Okay.
It's from my dad. And, and I can remember, I always tell people that, I played over 1,200 games in the big leagues. But you look at my numbers, it's not all-star numbers. It's not numbers that stand out that I was a superstar.
It's numbers that make glue guys to win.
I said it was me grinding every day. It was me taking the approach of I'm going to do whatever it takes to help my team win. If it was getting that one base hit and being 1 for 5, I'm hitting 200. But guess what? I helped my team win.
Right.
I had that mindset because I knew I wasn't the Chipper Joneses, and I wasn't. I wasn't you. I wasn't the guys that were going to make the All-Star team. So, and I go back, I'll kind of fast forward when I had Charlie Manuel. Charlie Manuel, when I was with Phillies, always said, know thyself.
Right.
I was that prime, perfect example of the player that knew who he was. I knew I could not make the All-Star team. I knew I was never going to be that superstar, but I was going to do what it took to grind and play this game as long as I could, not only to make a living for myself and my family, but just to do something to help my teammates win.
Right.
Because that's what my parents taught me. My high school coach taught me to play for the guy beside you. It was all about the team. And that's how I played the game. And, there wasn't anything flashy about it. And there was a lot of struggles, but it got me my 12, 13 years in the big leagues. And, I was blessed to play that long.
He was that guy, though. I broadcasted his games.
Right.
For a lot longer than I broadcasted Bulls. He was that guy. And I watched his younger teammates as he got a little older. I was with him when we were both babies. Yes. I was an announcer. Right. He was a player in the late 90s. That concept of continuing to be selfless, that's not easy to do. We're made selfish people. Yes. We are. God makes us selfish people. You easily went back and talked about your high school days.
Yes.
It's been a long time ago. You're talking to us like it was yesterday. So I'm going to really think not just mom and dad, but your high school teammates really help build that selfless, albeit driven.
Oh, yeah.
You wanted to hit 20 homers every single year. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yes.
But
there were early influences to teach you how to be selfless. Yes?
100%. I always tell people this when I talk to kids, you're never going to do anything in life alone. You're going to have somebody walking along your side, and you might not know who that is at that time, but it might be a teammate. It might be a coach. It might be someone that's a friend of the family. Someone's going to rub off on you to teach you certain things to build you who you are. And for me to come up with the upbringing of the parents, my coaches, my teammates, playing backyard baseball with my buddies and how we approach the competitiveness of, we'd play stickball and we were so competitive.
You don't get to do that now, do you?
No. And those things molded me into that person that got me that long in the big leagues. I mean, I'll be honest with you, if I didn't have those principles of being that person, I didn't have the talent probably to stick in the big leagues as long as I did if I wasn't the person inside I was. I mean, I was that grinding everyday person to where I'll work everybody and to do what I had to that day to be the best I could be. And, like I said, the best I could be wasn't an all-star, but it was to help my team win at something, either with making a play in the field or with that one at bat per game.
Coming up, in my years of playing, the Braves were very, very, they ran the National League, right? You walk into that stadium, that was the big stadium where they had the Olympics,
Turner Field.
Turner Field,
yes.
Big ballpark. But there was a guy who ran your team, the skipper, Bobby Cox.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me, I want to know about him. I want to know what he was like, I just feel that greatness is there's got to be some things you could tell us about playing for Bobby Cox and what he was like.
I'm so glad you asked me that, because the player I was because of coming up with the Braves. It was, you were taught to respect the game. You were taught, you wore your uniform a certain way. You approached every day a certain way. Bobby Cox's rule was, when you walk in that clubhouse, this is what you do. And every player, from the Chipper Jones to the lowest man on the totem pole, knew when you walked through those clubhouse doors what was expected of you every day. That was the Braves way. And just being around all Bobby Cox and how he was such a player's manager, but he also had that sense of respect. You kind of almost feared him a little,
right,
but you loved him.
Right.
Because you knew if you didn't follow that way, he wasn't going to put up with it. I mean, I remember times with, Hall of Fame type players, to Marcus Giles, to whoever, he would call him in if he didn't like something, and it was always behind closed doors.
Right.
He never did it in front of someone. And the one thing I respected about Bobby, he never talked about his players to the media.
Right.
If he had a problem with something, it was going to be in his office with the door closed. And when you left, no one knew about it. So the respect for that man of how he handled his players was, I'll never forget that. And that stuck with me through my whole career.
I had one of his disciples, Jimmy Williams.
Oh, yeah.
And he brought that to Vaughn.
Yes.
And I thanked him for it, all the way through his passing, but he brought a sense of, this is the way you wear the uniform. This is what I need to do as a leader,
right,
to be successful. And I was always, Darren, those Braves players come up through the organization, and when they get to the big leagues, they step on the field and they know how to play. There's not even a question.
Right.
The bunt's going to get down. The throw play is going to be turned. You're going to get a secondary, running the bases. You're going to be, leading in the right direction on third base so you can get home. Get the home plate like Toronto did too.
Oh, yeah.
In the World Series. That would have never happened with the Braves.
No.
So I always get fascinated, when I hear of guys that came up through the, Dodgers, I think a little bit like
yes,
that. There's just a way of teaching that when these guys come to play, you're going to have to beat them because they're not going to make any mistakes.
Well, and real quick to say that, I see in today's game, and it was back then too, there's disconnect from the big leagues to the minor leagues. And the one thing that stood out about Bobby, the way he handled things in the big leagues,
That was my next question.
Yeah.
That's literally what I was ask about that.
He would literally, every spring training.
Like Jim Souls with you when you first saw him.
Oh, gosh.
He's carrying Bobby's message, right?
The same fundamentals.
That's what we got.
The same philosophies of the game was taught from rookie ball through AAA, because Bobby's philosophy was, when I get the player, I shouldn't have to teach them anything.
I agree with that 1,000%.
And I see a lot of disconnect with some organizations of their AA and single A are playing the game different than they play at the big leagues. And I'm like, they're not going to be ready for that big league team if they don't get on board. And Bobby wasn't like that. He wanted everybody to be one.
So let's go back. I like the time machine. You know that. So who were you in those 56 rookie ball games? You had like Andrew Jones, George Lombard, Bruce Chen. I'm thinking of, because I was a Brave in spring training in '93, the year before. That's when I went home. I told Buddy Dews, thank you so much. I'm going home. Darren Ebert might have been with you. So who were you then? Who were you then? Who was that Wes Helms? Said goodbye to the family, made that tough decision. 56 games. No one plays that many games now. Who were you that first year?
So it makes you grow up quick. I realized I've never left my hometown much. I think the only time I'd been on a plane, I played in an AAU basketball event in Seattle, Washington, because I was a big basketball player. I'd never traveled on a plane anywhere, never left that little bubble of North Carolina. So when I was thrown on a plane to get to West Palm Beach, and I had to get off the plane and find my way to the hotel on my own, then the next day find my way to the field on my own, that was a big wake-up call for me. That was a huge wake-up call. But I will say this, that goes back with my dad telling me I was mature for my age because of the things that, he saw in me. I was mature enough to handle that. So I was able to see that adversity thrown at me, but it was like, I knew right away, let's go. This is what we got to do. And I started rolling with it. I got into pro ball. The biggest adjustment is every day. It is BP every day. Infield and outfield every day. It is early work every day. It is a game every day. It is in the heat and humidity of West Palm Beach every day. So it made me grow up not only mentally, but it made me grow up physically quick. Like, okay, I got to really take care of my body. I got to really make sure I eat properly. I got to do the things that I didn't have to worry about in high school. So it was an adjustment, and I did the right thing, and I took the bull by the horn, and I said, look, this is going to be my life. This is what I want to do, and I just started rolling with it.
You're known as a glue guy, a great guy in the clubhouse. A guy, and we all know it, and this, I never won a World Series, but I know when I've been on good teams, there's always those guys that you need. You're known as that. You went to the Phillies and created that for a year, and then they won 2 World Series after you left. How did you become that? How did you become that glue guy that everybody knows and understands that we need that guy to win, to do all the different things, and his way in the clubhouse, his way with the players, his positivity, the jokes, the mannerisms, all those things. How did you pick that up? Those guys are so important to win.
I think it goes back to the person I was, but I will say this. It goes back to coming up with the Braves, of having the Bobby Doo's and the Rick Alberts and all the people that basically enforced you being a good teammate. Like, they were all about the chemistry of the team. Bobby Doo's, you know him really well. Like, it was all about the chemistry of the team. So I learned that so young in rookie ball, in A ball, because, in pro ball, it's you're trying to beat the person beside you or somebody behind you trying to take your spot.
Right.
You still can be competitive and be the best you can be, but still be that guy that keeps everybody bonded together and have one goal. And that's to win the World Series or win the championship. And I realized quick, like, I still can do my job. I still can be that dog guy that's trying to take your spot. Like, I'm trying to take your spot, Chipper, but guess what? Probably not everyone take it, but I'm going to be that teammate that brings everybody together.
Makes Chipper better, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I always say that. That's a good point. And I always say this to the day. That creates a brotherhood in the clubhouse,
right,
that you can get through any adversity during the season if you build that kind of culture in the clubhouse. And like you said, it takes those guys to make it fun when you're losing.
Can't go anywhere without them.
Oh my God. Like, when you're going through that losing streak, you got to have somebody to liven it up.
Yes.
Alfredo Amezaga was that guy in Florida for us. I mean, he's cutting up all the time when we're losing. You don't get mad at that. That keeps you loose. Like, you got to have those guys that know how to get the team going when the team needs to get going, know how to bring guys in when they're struggling, know how to talk to a guy when they're going through something off the field. Like, hey, man, is something going on with you? I just kind of was that guy. I mean, I cared about my teammates.
Great trade.
I absolutely cared to please my manager. I'll say that. I played to please Charlie Manuel, please Joe Girardi, please Bobby Cox, please Ned Yost. Like, I wanted to please those guys because they're the ones that's, basically my head coach. I need to do the job for this guy that he expects me to do. And I live by that.
Now I think you're doing an even better job. And I
appreciate that.
On social media, we've talked.
Yes.
We never met each other.
This is the first time you guys are getting together?
Well, we played against each other. Never met. Never.
Great.
Yes.
We talked on the phone. And this is how guys are, like, real guys know each other, because we get on the phone.
Yeah.
And we started, I was asking him something about my son. We're aligned because we're both, he's a stocks Camwood guy. He's a owner, rep, batting coach, bat, everything that there is to do. And he does it very well. How much, it seems like you love the coaching aspect now on the youth side. Tell me about that, because I love it.
So basically, I always tell people this. Like, I played the game. I loved it. I played a long time, but I studied the game when I played it. People didn't realize that when I played it. I was picking the brain of Greg Maddux, Chipper Jones, Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, Jimmy Rollins. I was picking the brain of Roy Halladay. How would you pitch me?
Right.
How would you pitch? Because I would do that with Greg Maddux when I wouldn't start in Atlanta. Like, this guy here, how would you pitch him? And it started to build my, basically knowledge of the game. And it carried with me after the game. And I was like, and my wife told me this. She told me when I was playing, and I'll never forget this. She goes, Wes, God put you in the big leagues for what you're going to do after you stop playing. And as a player, I'm like, whatever. I'm out there trying to make a living. When I stopped playing, I realized it. I started volunteering at the high school in my hometown where my kids eventually went to. I started to see what she was taught. I loved it. I absolutely loved giving back to those kids, getting the chills when I see a player here, and the next thing you know, boom, they're signing with a college because I've helped that kid. That's what I take pride in, and that was my passion. And I realized what she was telling me, Wes, that's your passion. Your passion is going to be take everything you learned in 12 or 13 years in the big leagues and give it to the youth generation to basically pass the torch to them. And when I'm in a cage with a hitter or when I'm working with a team, I literally get like chills when I'm working with them. And I see that kid, when I see that kid make that adjustment and they were rolling over, now they're driving a ball, I'm like, that is the best feeling in the world. And I mean, it just kind of set inside of me, hey, this is what you need to be doing, and I love it.
What's next for you?
So basically, I'm the CEO of Camwood Bats. I'll run the company, and it's just going to be doing that. I'll basically, eventually whenever I get to where I'll draw my pension, I'll kind of taper off a little bit. But right now, it's just get my youngest son through high school. We got 2.5 years with him. Then we'll make a decision, but I'll be with Camwood Bats for as long as possible. And then my oldest son, Wesley, graduates college this year. He's going to come on board and I'll mold him into taking my spot with Camwood one day whenever I'm like, all right, I just need to get away from everything and enjoy life a little. But yeah, that's it. Just be with Camwood, work with kids, and keep developing and giving my knowledge.
Tell me a little bit, though, about we came through the rankings around the same time. I feel that the Braves had a lot of the real old school mentality.
Yes.
I hear Chipper Jones talk a lot about Willie Stargell.
My first hitting coach.
I was taught by a Willie Stargell disciple in Mike Easler. So a lot of the things you all talk about, it was taught to Mike Easler from Willie, taught to me.
Yes.
So when I hear you and I hear Chipper talking, I hear a lot of the same things. What is the difference now in our language and conversation that we all got our basis from to what's going now in the 2000s or the analytic era of hitting? And how are we able to how are you able to coach that and make people understand, what we were really talking about?
So basically, I'm the one person that never knocks anybody.
Right.
You go do your thing, I do my thing, but I always live off this. You and I face the best of the best every day for as long as we played.
Right.
There's certain things that are going to work. There's certain things that are not going to work. But I base everything I do off of consistency. What's going to make the most consistent hitter at the plate in the game off the best pitcher? And that's how I work with kids. In today's game, a lot of kids are getting taught to be a one-dimensional hitter. Swing as hard as you can in one area, and hopefully you hit it. And if you do hit it, it's going to go a long way, and you're going to have a high ceiling on measurement.
Stop. Where is that coming from? Just tell me, knowing what we know, and we see that, because we all see the same thing.
Yes.
You and I, we're looking at the video, and we're going, this guy's swinging on one play. If they go to ball,
yes,
3 inches the other way, he's not. Where is that coming from that's being taught?
I think it started where, of course, a lot of the analytics lean toward the teams that hit the most homers. You can't base anything in youth sports off of the big leagues.
No.
We are built different. We're in the big leagues because we are different.
We're men.
We're exceptions to the rule.
You're men.
At young age, too, our physical stats.
College and down, you have to teach certain principles. Now, if I have a first-round pick that I'm working with in high school, I'm going to work with him a little different than I do with the everyday high school kid, because this his body can do more than this kid can do. They're just built different. Big leaguers are built different. So I think it got to where all the stuff on TV with the home runs the big league teams are hitting, and they, all this stuff on MLB Network when they say, hey, the top 4 teams in the big leagues this year, the team that won the World Series hit the most homers, this and this. I think it trickled down to youth ball, but we can't teach that in youth ball. Oh. We can't. The big leagues, yes, you can live and die by the home run sometimes because those guys can do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Those guys can get away with that. They're men among, they're just different breeds.
Right.
But across the board, we got to teach the fundamentals of hitting, of
balance,
having adjustability, balance, bat the ball skills, giving a quality at bat, put pitches in the pitcher in high school, because if you get in their bullpen, they're not as good.
Right.
Little things like that aren't being taught in today's game, where that's the way we were taught.
Absolutely.
And, I think it just started when, people started doing the big league way down in the youth area. And it's really sad to see really good, talented young players aren't getting the most out of what they can do.
And Darren, we both know that if you take a wrong swing long enough, it's very hard. It's very hard to correct.
That's just swing.
You could, just like building patterns of good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You can build patterns of bad stuff, and you won't be able to correct it. You go, well, what happened to this kid? Well, he got in a bad pattern and couldn't get out. And that is the shame.
Can I editorialize a little bit here to put a bow on it? I love where you guys are going, and I love the passion you bring from the traditional side of the game. Here's what I love about it as someone who, respectfully, communicates more with those kids than I do with you guys now.
Right.
All the time, every week, thousands of kids, biographically, interviews, is that there are some in your space who believe similar to what you guys do, that some things are being missed, but their messaging's not good.
Right.
Their messaging is negative. It's almost that they don't care anymore about the kids. I appreciate you guys because you're standing up for what you believe in, teaching kids, but it's such a positive message.
Yes.
Does that make sense, Wes? Like, as a son of a longtime major leaguer who covered major leaguers, who tried to be a major leaguer, there's nothing worse to me than the look of that negative side.
100%.
Former player. That's why I like talking to you dudes.
What's already a game of failure.
That's why I like talking to you dudes.
I
You know what
mean, it's already a game of failure, so why do we want to put more negativity into it?
I
You
struggle.
get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I struggled. I remember 91, 92. I was the player that couldn't calm down. The faster the ball came in, the faster I was swinging. And then it was taught to me to understand mechanics and slowing down. And see, when I see somebody struggling, it pains me. It hurts me internally because it's hard enough without, bring all these other aspects in. Let's try to bring it simple and try to bring some guys in that just listen for a minute. Just give me 5 minutes. If you tell me to go to hell, you can't.
Right.
Just give me 5 minutes to make you understand there's a better way. And that's all, that I'm trying to massage.
I'm told I'm out of time. Your insights are great. Your passion. Thanks for letting me co-host.
Yes.
It's good to reconnect
love
with
it,
you,
man.
I love calling your games. I really
You and your dad, we go way back. Always, man. We go way back.